You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to Cards to the Moon. This is episode 126, and it is another Friday episode to get you through the weekend. My name is Clark from 5 Card Guys on Instagram and 5cardguys.com. With me, returning to the pod this week after a 1-week hiatus, is Hyung of Integrity Sports Cards. Now, John is the one who couldn't make it this week, but we do have our trusty friend, Will, who's back on the show once again. Well, Will, always glad to have you. The listeners love you, so this is a treat.
Fan favorite.
I gotta say, in previous episodes, I make it seem like I hate every second of this, and that's not the truth. Like, I feel weird that people hear my voice, but I do just love hanging out with you guys and chatting, talking cards. So
nice.
I don't want anyone to think that I'm not having a great time.
This is what we do anyways, when we get together and we talk cards, right? So yeah, hear ya. All right, so off the top, Hyung, you and I actually just got some PSA subs back. So I thought we could talk about it, like, were you happy with the results? What did you get back exactly? And Will, you can chime in any time to express your displeasure for the whole grading process, all right? So
it's the question. It's the question of whether or not I like PSA again, right?
Right.
But this time I will say I'm pretty happy overall. We sent 50 cards actually through bulk through Canada Sports Cards, and they came back 2.5 months. So turnaround times were like pretty amazing in my opinion.
Pretty good,
yeah. And we sent that Manny Machado lot that we were talking about, the Topps Chrome.
Right.
So I ended up getting 10 gem mints back, which is, I thought I was pretty pleased with that.
Nice.
Yeah, just a bunch of cards that I kind of ripped in retail or, hobby boxes that I kind of left. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to take my chances. And then I ended up, I think it was over 50% gem rate. So it was closer to 60%, pretty happy overall with the process. So I'm back on board with PSA.
Until the next time.
I originally sent my minor league cards. So that was kind of like one of the things. So it's cool to have none of those came back gem, which was kind of unfortunate. I got a PSA 6 on one of them, but they are in the registry. So there's a Pop 2 and a PSA 9 of my minor league cards.
And you have both of them, right?
I do have both of them. So corner in the market.
Well, Johnny on our WhatsApp chat joked that the PSA listened to our pod, so you took several too many digs at them, so they're like, "We'll give you a PSA 6 for yours, buddy."
Couple things with the submission though. I did send in a few cards that I cracked from like SGC 9.5, so a Miguel Blaze. Like a blue first Bowman Chrome, he's tearing it up, or his values are going up. But that was a perfect example. It went from an SGC 9.5, which I would say is closer to a PSA 9 in reality. But I got the bump with a PSA 10, so stuff like that was awesome. And then Velocity Sports Cards. So Nelson Wang, he's a local guy. I joined one of his breaks. A while back. I think it was in January, it would have been, probably January-ish, but he pulled Jason Churio for me, Atomic, and nice. I checked it, and I was like, man, this has no chance of becoming a 10 because there was surface issues, but lo and behold, the inconsistencies of PSA got me the 10. So wow. I was happy with that as well. So like a lot of stuff that, was random that really I wasn't expecting much, and they came back a 10. So from that side of things, I'm pretty happy.
Cool. Good stuff. I mean, like I submitted my Wander Franco Upper Deck Goodwin Champions Exquisite Collection Rookie Patch Auto. And when I got the card, I bought it raw. And when I got the card, there was like a little dent. Like I could notice it.
Oh,
It was
man.
very slight, and I was too nervous to send it to get it graded. So I wanted to just at least get it authenticated, get it slabbed, and then maybe I could trade or sell it later. And I submitted it at the November Sports Card Expo here in Toronto, and I just got it back today. I was cheap. I used the value pricing point. So was that November, December, January, February. So half a year to get it back. Right in time for baseball. I kind of said and lo and behold, like the Tampa Bay Rays are undefeated, 13-0 as we're recording. Wander Franco's doing his thing.
And you sent that direct, you said?
Yeah, right at the PSA.
Oh, at the PSA show,
booth.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did that run you at the time for a value?
For value and taxes and whatever fees, it's about $95-$96.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I don't know, Will. You're still off of PSA, eh? Is it like the
Well, I just right before we started our podcast, I saw an Instagram post for the upcoming Sports Card Expo. PSA Card Canada is going to be doing $27 submissions. It's a pretty good price point. I may have to send in a bunch of stuff, but I'm like, how I feel about grading, and just the fact that Hyung was able to crack a couple SGC 9.5s and get them to 10. It's making me feel like I want to do that to all the SGC 9.5s that I got. I have like some really pretty Jazz Chisholm blue refractor autos that came back SGC 9.5, and like Hyung say, it's like, I don't know if it's gonna be a PSA 9, but it's valued under a PSA 9. Like people just they're not feeling the SGC slabs like I am.
crack it.
Yeah, I might have to go over to Hyung's and get him to look over all my cards.
I sent those Jazz for you.
Oh yeah,
to
you
SGC.
did.
I already looked at them. They're not gonna get any better.
Maybe we gotta buff it. We gotta buff some surface issues out or something. I don't know.
Try again. Try again. Well, after hearing your Jackson Churio story, I'm like, damn it, should I just have gone for the number grade? So just take my chances with how inconsistent PSA grading can be. But
Yeah.
anyway, what's done is done. All right, let's go on to our discussion for this episode. And now that we're officially in baseball season, 2 weeks in, I wanted to overreact to some storylines. And you tell me if you agree, disagree, and what you're doing with that player's cards. All right, so I'll just go through a list of some storylines in MLB. Are you concerned about Juan Soto? He's batting .217. He was batting under 200 for the first week. Had a nice 2-for-4 game that bumped him up to .217. Small sample size, but are you worried at all? Like he was kind of like everyone was back on him going into the season. Down year, still had a good year, but down year for him. And now he's off to a super slow start again. Your thoughts?
I personally am not too concerned because a couple things I look, at guys like Soto who are pure hitters is again his OBP. If his OBP is down, that's a concern for me more so than the batting average. I think batting average is one of the most overrated stats. Obviously it matters, but it doesn't say everything. It doesn't tell you about your approach or what's happening. So I think, you got to understand too. It's like beginning of the season, he goes 4-for-4. All of a sudden he's, closer to 300 now with, and people are all back on him. Right. And that's going, you look at the lineup on San Diego, no one's really hitting except for Xander Bogaerts, really, and Ha-Seong Kim. Those are the two guys on Padres that are really, hitting at this time. Cronenworth, guys like Machado. A lot of guys aren't hitting, so that kind of goes hand in hand, I think, with Soto's lack of, his hot start. And I think, Soto's a pure hitter. Like it's, he's going to find it and you're going to see he's a 900 plus OPS type guy that if it starts getting in below 800s, that's when I start getting concerned. But cause he has such great plate discipline, he's going to have a 400 plus, on base percentage or at least close to it, just because he's drawing so many walks. So, that's for me, I think he's a hold. Or, like we talked about in the pod, there's not a lot of great Juan Soto rookie autos or rookie cards. So if there's an opportunity, this might be a good buying opportunity too, as well, because Tatis is coming back. That's probably going to solidify, the lineup a bit. They have holes to fix on the Padres roster, but, having Tatis back with him, Machado, Bogarts, this is going to provide a lot of protection around Soto as well. So.
Okay, not concerned. How about you, Will?
Yeah, I feel a lot of the things that Hyung's saying too. Baseball's my favorite sport to watch and to follow, and we live and die with every single game. Like in our group WhatsApp chat, I send you guys the stats for like every Korean player who does something, and nobody responds. It's like 11 p.m. and I'm like, "Did you see Ji-hwan Bae hit a bomb?" And nobody responds. It's because baseball fans, we live and die with every at-bat, with every game. And so it's like Hyung says, if he goes 2 for 4, it boosts his average a little bit. If he goes 4 for 4, all of a sudden he's hitting amazingly and everyone's going crazy. And, that's the life of a baseball season. It's just, there's so many ups and downs. One of the things that Hyung taught me when I first got back into the hobby was just like, you got to have diamond hands. You got to hold. Like, if you believe in the player, why are you selling right now? Right? Like, and Soto is generational. He's still, 23? How old is he? Like,
he's so young. Yeah,
he's still so young. Like, there's new rookies coming into the league that are older than him.
Yeah,
right? Like Jake Cronenworth, I think he's 36 years old. And he's got 1 year under his belt. So I'm not worried about Soto, especially since, like I said, I watch all the highlights on the MLB YouTube page. And a couple nights ago, that Soto bomb that he hit to like the second deck, it was a beauty. Yeah. So I'm not worried. I'm actually looking to buy into or trade into some Soto stuff at the show coming up.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not gonna belabor this point because I'm with you guys. I want to bring this up because there are some fickle paper hand card collectors out there, and if they're letting go of Soto now, good opportunity to pick it up. And Juan Soto is notorious for starting slow.
Yeah,
the first month his stats are the worst, and then he just picks it up in the summer, like as the summer progresses. And I don't know what it is. It's happening again this year. He just starts slow. Some guys, I guess, start slow, and then it takes a little bit just to get their feet under him. I don't know, but that's Soto. All right, I want to go the other way now. Someone that's hot right now, and he had the hype going into the season like 2-3 years ago. He was the chase in the hobby, and then he kind of died down because he got injured. I'm talking about Wander Franco. Is he this year's MVP? Can you see that season happening for him? The team, as we record this, 13-0. Of course, they're in the AL East division competing against the Jays, so that's annoying. But the Tampa Bay Rays are killing it, and Wander Franco's a big part of that. Your thoughts?
Man, Wander Franco is, coming into it. He had so much hype that, we talked about this a bit, in his rookie season, how it's kind of like what Volpe is going through. Like the world's, expecting him to become some superstar right on the spot. And I think that's kind of what happened with Wander Franco. And, we said he's a 80 hit tool. He's a guy that's going to control the bat. He's going to potentially, be a 300 plus hitter. And the power concerns were, if he does hit, 20 home runs, which is a great year for a type of player like Wander Franco, what would that do to his prices? And that's what happened. He hit that 280, 290, at 15 to 20 home runs. And that's a solid season. So that's kind of where it was at. And the only thing that was available in his market at the time was his Bowman Chromes, right? So his Prospect Chrome autos. So, to me, I contribute that factor into his ridiculous pricing, along with obviously becoming, I think he was the number one prospect coming up with that. So there was a lot of hype with that. So I think in order for him to actually have movement in his prices, he has to keep this up. Is it likely that he's a 30 plus home run guy? First of all, he could be. If he ends up hitting 300 plus with 30 plus, home runs, I could see his prices increasing because his 2022 rookie cards, I think, were cheap because the expectations of him while his rookie cards were released was that he was going to be the next, Mike Trout or, some crazy performance guy right on the spot. And that didn't happen. So I think the rookie cards took the biggest fall because they didn't even have a leg to stand up on by the time his market already cooled down, right? So I think there might be buying opportunity for the 2022 rookie cards. I still think his 2019 Bowman is still overpriced in my opinion for what he's accomplished, but I'm hoping so. Like I said, Wander Franco is an incredible ball player and he has a lot to prove because, he's not the biggest physical structured person. He could be easily kind of like a Lindor type player, right? So it's look at Lindor's market, right. That's what you're going to get. So I wouldn't go all in on Wander, but the talent is definitely there. So it depends on what kind of season he puts up the rest of the way. And to start, I think it's definitely a lot of Wander investors have been looking for this particular moment because you're seeing a bump in his price a bit.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned with Wander in that he's in Tampa. They were saying the other day that when they are 11-0 or 12-0, their fan attendance was 18,000 people in the Trop.
Crazy.
You don't have fans.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have local fans. I will buy any and every Boba and Vladdy and Hyunjin Ryu in a Toronto jersey because I love the team. And, we have a bunch of diehard Blue Jays fans, but who's collecting out of emotion down in Tampa? No one. And like Hyung's saying, those Bowman Chrome prospect cards are way overpriced. So it's I wouldn't want to buy it just because I'm going to sit on that and lose money. And he's also an AL East rival, so I don't want to check for Tampa. It's just like last year when the Yankees had this hot start and Judge was on fire. And
right.
Judge panned out well, though.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll get to Judge in a sec, but with Franco, I was just looking at his 2019 Bowman Chrome prospect autograph cards. BGS 9.5 last sold for $1,000. Pop count 412. At its peak, it was just over 3K.
Holy!
Wow.
But in February or March, you could have bought this one for about $665.
Wow.
So definitely gone up since the start of the season, obviously. So there was that momentary buying opportunity, but right now it's just I feel like I don't want to go into it now. You're already paying the premium for a hot start, and you don't know how the rest of the season's going to pan out, but it could work out. He could be have another full season like Judge did, and if he stays healthy, that interesting things can happen, right? So that's where I am with Wander. He's tempting though, $1,000 compared to Volpe, which is $1,000. I'd rather have Wander.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people might want the upside of Volpe.
I don't know. Yankees.
Right. It's all about the rivals.
Yeah. So that's an interesting point too. But anyway, we have to talk about Shohei. His ERA is 0.47.
Incredible.
It's just ridiculous.
The kid's incredible.
And of course, he's playing for the Angels. He's barely winning 1-0 games. Of course, the Angels can't support him. And then, I think we kind of overreacted with Wander Franco being this year's MVP, but really the odds-on favorite is going to be Shohei this year, just because he can do both things on the mound and hitting-wise. He's this unicorn. Do you think this is the last year you can get his prices for what they are now?
What I notice about Shohei's market is there's a huge demand for autos. Mm-hmm. Huge demand for autos, overpriced. And I'm one of those guys. I want a 2018 Shohei auto. And if you guys know Shohei's auto, you know that after 2019, his autos went down the drain. He has signed so many cards that he changed his auto, so it's not that clean auto that you see on his Bowman Chrome 2018. You'll see 2020, 2021. It's a different auto. So the 2018 is kind of like, you know, a grail that I've been looking for, a good Shohei auto, but you're gonna overpay. On the flip side, you have his base card, some of his numbered parallels in paper. I think it's criminally cheap on some of those compared to the Sotos and stuff. And I think there's upside on cards like that where I think over time, this guy's doing incredible things. We're not even talking the same sentence as Babe Ruth. He's doing way bigger things than what Babe Ruth was doing at that time in terms of a two-way player. Nobody has done what he is doing. And I sure hope, you know, and you've seen it at the WBC, you know, you have a a global following on this guy. If anybody hates on this guy, they have some serious issues. Like, I don't know how you hate on Shohei Ohtani. It is great for the game. The personality is unbelievable. He's an incredible specimen in terms of athletic ability. His frame, his body's going to hold up. That's what another thing. Usually, you know, something that would have concerned me coming from the Asia countries would have been longevity. Is his body sustainable? This guy looks...
He's a monster.
He's a monster, yeah. And so it's like you got all the moving pieces for this. So as much as Ohtani's prices are overpriced right now, and you probably could find a better time to buy on Ohtani probably in the off season, but I think the room for getting a quality 2018 auto is shrinking day by day because some people are on the same wavelength in terms of thinking, hey, if I get this Ohtani auto, this is going to be generational. I'm going to pass this down to my kid. This guy was the greatest baseball to ever pick up a baseball in our generation. That's the type of conversation I see personally from Ohtani. So I'm in the market for an Ohtani auto. That's something that, even though it's pricey, that's something that I'm willing to trade my modern junk that is useless and put it into something like that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I feel like Shohei is it's too late, but it's also not too late. like you are going to pay ridiculous.
It's early.
You're going to pay ridiculous prices right now for Shohei stuff. Because, like, I watch, like, you know, on my eBay search history, it's a lot of, like, random stuff that I like collecting. Just, like, really pretty subsets and whatnot. One of them's, like, you know, Topps Archives postcards. And you can get a postcards auto with Vladdy. Like, I have a Vladdy out of 10. And I got it for, I think, $100. The Shohei base autograph, it's not numbered. It's just like, I don't know, 1,000 of them. Who knows? That sells for like 700.
Crazy.
Every other player in that subset of like 10 players, they all sell for like $100 to $200. But all of Shohei stuff is like 5x what you want to get, or like the other players, and that's consistent with even some of my unlicensed garbage that you guys always rip on. Like if it's like a Vladdy Kaboom, it's like $1,000. If it's a Shohei Kaboom, it would be like 8,000 or something like Color Blast and all this stuff. So I feel like it's too late for me to collect anything Shohei. I don't have that kind of scratch. All I have is this dinky SP where he's waving with his hands. He looks so friendly in his like warm-up jersey. It's such a nice card, and I'm just like, but it's so dinky in comparison to the ones that I want, like the ones Hyung's saying, like the 2018 Topps Chrome autos, like where it's like that close-up image.
Oh yeah,
is that the one that you're talking about, Hyung?
I personally want the Bowman Chrome.
Yeah. The Bowman Chrome's so nice too.
Topps Chrome would be a secondary, like if I couldn't get that Bowman Chrome.
Yeah, both those auto cards are just beautiful. So
yeah,
it's too late for those for me, for 99% of us, but not for Hyung.
Oh no, I don't know about that. I'm buying it high. I'm liquidating my junk, the stuff that nobody wants.
Oh man, I want it so bad. Like I had that Topps Chrome auto, and Daryl, if you're still listening, you won the trade. Okay, you won the trade. All right. I like my Vladdy. Like as a Jays fan, I'm not complaining. The Vladdy Bowman Chrome, true gem. Now that Beckett's not screwing around with the grading just yet, still worth something, right? But man, I should have kept the Shohei. I was banking on him not being able to be healthy the next season. It looks like he's taking care of himself. He's lifting weights. You see him on Instagram. But yeah, he's certainly a unicorn. And it's weird. Like when you look at card ladder and you look at every other card, the trend is always like just a downward trend because the 2021 hype there was a little bubble. Shohei is the exact opposite. It's going the other way. It's so weird to see one card like I'm talking about the 2018 Bowman Chrome, the pitching one. Like it is just like an upward trajectory.
Shohei is recession proof. He's
recession proof.
He is, man.
So
it's incredible.
I might just try to get a cheaper auto just to hold on to at this point. And we all know he's probably going to go to the Dodgers or the Yankees next season, so that could help with his value. All right, I'm going to put these next two together, and then we'll wrap it up. Home run hitters. Everyone loves home run hitters. I was lucky that I banked on Aaron Judge halfway through the season, and I was able to get good trade value by giving away my Bo Bichette and Lewis Robert. We talked about that in the previous podcast. So I'm talking about Aaron Judge. Do you think he's able to hit even 50 home runs this year? He's on pace for 54. Very early in the season, of course, but if he does that, then what happens to his car prices? And I also want to throw in Pete Alonso, kind of sleeping a little bit. Like he is projected to hit 75 home runs because he has 6 home runs right now in the first week and a half, and he's, we know he's capable of mashing too, right? And he plays for a big New York City market as well on the other side, the New York Mets. So those two guys, do you think there's potential for their cards to pop if they keep hitting bombs?
Oh man, this one's tough because I really like Pete Alonso. I like his game. Yeah. I like everything about Pete Alonso. But to me, in New York, he comes second to Aaron Judge in my opinion, and he still has a lot to kind of go through. I mean, he's still young. He had that monster rookie season, with 53 home runs. He had a really good season last year, where I would say he kind of picked it back up to that first year. And that's where we're at with Pete Alonso. So his rookie year was 2019. He gets no movement with his Bowman Chrome in 2016. Very little movement in his rookie cards. So Pete Alonso is a little tough one for me. He's going to have to keep on. If he hits 60 home runs, conversation is going to be very interesting. And I hope he does it because it's rare category that you have two guys in New York doing this as well. On the flip side, Aaron Judge, honestly, I think he's going to keep hitting them. I don't see him stopping. I think he's in his prime, to be honest. So for the sake of baseball, I think it would be great if he, goes back to back, 50 plus home run seasons. I think it's great for the hobby. His prices are a little high, but for me, he's a New York Yankee and he's a fan favorite. He's a guy that is going to be a Hall of Famer if he keeps his pace up. He's 31 years old. By end of this year, he could have close to a 50 WAR. You're in the territory now of the Manny Machados. Now people said he was too late when he was 27. Now he's 31, and now he's gonna surpass 40 WAR from a career perspective. And if he keeps this pace up, he's gonna keep going. And I think he has a lot of upside just based on his history and story. And like I said, some of his stuff is super expensive. And I think it was a great time for you to sell that Judge of yours, the Bowman Chrome, the refractor. That was a great flip. I think it could sit sideways for a while, but there are opportunities in his rookie year that a lot of people overlook these cards. So I think there's always potential with the cards that nobody really knows about that has good future value. I think subsets like Topps Finest, Bowman's Best, even Topps High Tech for Judge, they have some type of kind of like growth potential in some of their rookie auto cards there.
Okay, so more bullish on Judge than Alonso.
Yes.
Yeah, I like Judge just because he's gonna be a Yankee for life now with that big contract.
Yeah.
I think if he didn't go to the Yankee, or if he went somewhere else, that would have just tanked his value. So yeah, like I'm a big fan of his game. He hits like he looks like he's taking check swings and hitting bombs. Like it just looks ridiculous. Yeah. But for me, I love Pete Alonso. I think he's so criminally underrated. It's part of the reason being, he's on the Mets, right? Like there's always a second team in New York for each major sport, and the Mets are the second team in New York for baseball. But if you look at his stats, like one of the things that I like to do when I'm targeting investments in cards is, we all dig the long ball. And if you look at his stats, excluding the 2020 year, because that was the COVID year, right. He has 3 full seasons, and he hit 53, 37, and last year he hit 40. So he averages 43 home runs a season. That is a pace that nobody else is at. Like he's hit the most home runs in the last 4 years.
Right.
And he's not being talked about enough. He's a little goofy, but like he overdoes it in the home run derby, but you know what? Like
you gotta love energy. Pete. Yeah, 100%. Polar Pete. Yeah,
polar bear.
Yeah, I might be looking. I'm at the show. I might be looking for some people.
I have some Pete. I have some Pete.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to Hyung after the show.
We got this, Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Pete Alonso is just going to be one of those players that just is like hobby logic, just no, respect for what he's actually doing, right? Unless he hits 60, then it could be interesting, like you mentioned, Hyung. But I like Aaron Judge. If he dips a little bit, I might try to get back in because like I feel like the more I read about Judge, he's more of a student of a game. Like I read one, I think it was in The Athletic the other day, where he was studying the Yankees minor league team, and he noticed that they're stealing a ton and they're having a huge success rate, and then they break it down like what they're actually doing to like be more successful on stealing bases. And he already has 2 this season. It's early, but he's implementing some of what he learned, and it's almost like this shuffle step. And then it brings momentum to when he runs to second, right? Or even third.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if he had 50 home runs and he hits 20 plus stolen bases? Like you don't expect that from Judge, but if he does that, then that's interesting to me too. Like a fast and power hitter. So I'm just saying
the game is changing.
Yeah, exactly. They were mentioning how with the bigger bases and the pitcher's only allowed to throw twice. Like there's all these contributing factors. Well, stolen bases is already up, right? Across the league.
First 50-50 guy?
Maybe.
He only needs 3 steps to get to second base. Right?
Oh, I know.
It's like Giannis takes 3 steps from half court, and Aaron Judge takes 2.5 steps and he's stolen a base.
See, they just give him the green light all the time. All right. Well, that was a good discussion. We'll always follow baseball because we are, like you said, we are huge baseball fans. And we'll do this overreaction maybe at the All-Star break when there's more sample size. And we'll see if we're totally off with these early predictions or if we're bang on. So we'll see in the summer. All right. Thanks again for all those who listen to the podcast. Wherever you listen to your podcast, we appreciate if you give us 5 stars. And we'll see you again with a new episode on Tuesday. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.